Flame symbolizes knowledge and wealth, and hence we light the lamp to bow down to knowledge as the greatest form of wealth.
Halo Mas,
The Department of Commerce was established in the year 2006.
Salil, one
It is one
moment.
of-
I request everybody, please mute yourself. Thank you.
The Department of Commerce was established in the year 2006. It is one of the youngest and jubilant department in the university, working for the promotion of commerce and business education. We at the Department of Commerce believe that it is through the right type of commerce education that people get empowerment and human capacity is strengthened. Our focus remains to create a community of lifelong learners, responsible global citizens, and champions of their own success. Now, without further ado, I would like to invite Dr. Supriya Patil, Head of the Department of Commerce, to give a welcome address to everyone gathered here.
Thank you, Salil. Good afternoon. Namaskar. I am very, very happy today to finally have an induction program for the MCOM batch of 20. Today, as you know, is January 18, 2021. And the pandemic that we have all gone through in 2020 has pushed back all our plans, our desires, and everything that we had thought about by almost about 7 to 9 months. So here we are, instead of August 2020, in January 2021, inviting you, inducting you for this MCOM program, which begins this week. Today we have here with us our Honorable Pro Vice Chancellor, Sir, Professor Dr. Umrani, Sir. Soon our Honorable Registrar, who is also the Director of SPPU School of Business, Dr. Prafulla Pawar, will be joining us. Our Dean of Faculty of Commerce and Management, Dr. Parag Karkar, Sir, will also be joining us very soon. This day seems to be very, very busy for all of us, and I'm very grateful that Umrani Sir has found time for us to be here in this meeting. We also have our guest of honor, Professor Sanjay Kaptan. Professor Kaptan is a chair professor of this department, Saukar Chair, and has been our first head of the Department of Commerce since 2006. Our chief guest for today is Mrs. Rujuta Jagtap. She's an entrepreneur, and I'll not say much about her, but we'll be looking forward to hear her words of wisdom and to see how students of commerce will be becoming entrepreneurs under the Make in India program. With me, I also have Dr. Shamla, my colleague in the department, Dr. Amrita and Ms. Harshada, who are contractual assistant professors in the Department of Commerce. And I welcome all these dignitaries to the online induction program of M-Commerce. And I think this is the first time ever that we have done the induction program in an online manner. But most important, I would like to welcome all of you. My seniors are here with me. They have helped us in this setting up this online webinar. But most important is the new batch of MCOM 2020. Students, I would have been very, very delighted to have you here in the department. And till such a time that you can come here, we will be helping everything, all of you, to learn the modalities of online education. Now, before we go into syllabus education and all that, let me give you a very brief background of this university. Savitribai Phule University, as you know, is located in Pune and is 71 years old. I'm very proud to tell you that this state government university has been in the top 10 universities in India consistently for last 4 years since the ranking framework system has been instituted by the MHRD, or now the Ministry of Education. If you look at our university from an international standpoint, you will be very happy to know that amongst 1800 universities and institutes worldwide, our state university ranks between 650 to 700 in the QS World Ranking. Believe me, this is no small feat for a university which is only 70 years old. Why I say 70 years old young? Because our competition, or the people who come in top 100, have more than 200 and 300-year-old universities in United States as well as United Kingdom, and they have a well-established history. Now, if you once you come to the campus, you will find that we have a very, very beautiful lush green campus of 411 acres. This campus houses 52 different departments and quite a few centers. We have administrative block, we have students hostel, we have sports facilities, we have yoga meditation centers, and we have health centers. And trust me, you need to come here to experience that beauty, what is offered by this university. Now, in this university, the Department of Commerce is a very young department. We were established in 2006. So we are just about 16 years old. So we are in our sweet 16, and therefore we are allowed to be a little bit of naughty sweet 16. Now, in the 16 years of Department of Commerce, our first HOD, Dr. Kaptan, he's going to speak to you about it, and he will give you the historical perspective perhaps. But what I would like to tell you is we have a lovely building, a beautiful infrastructure equipped with classrooms, all the necessary gadgets that you would need for education. We have an excellent seminar hall and auditorium, and the premise is being beautified on a daily basis, on a regular basis. Our one very important feature of this department is our department library. We have lots and lots of books. I mean, I don't even remember the count now, but besides the books which you need for your studies, for your syllabus, we have plenty of books for in English, in Hindi, and in Marathi. So whatever your learning language may be, we have books to help you with your overall development. And mind you, what I'm talking is not of only non-fiction books. We have fiction books as well. So you can enrich yourself by reading a plethora of literature that we have available in the library. This is what we have in terms of a physical infrastructure. Now, what do we as a department offer you? Besides the degree program, we as a department believe that a student development has to be totally, completely an overall development. We don't want what we call as a kitabi kida. We want a personality which will fit in today's world. And what is today's world? Today's world is competition. Today's world is stress. Today's world is making success or gaining success in so many more numbers of our time. And this is where, my dear friends, this department is going to help you with. Besides academic syllabus, our department helps all the students for placement and skill development activities. We teach you simple skills like Excel. What I understand is Tally is a skill that you develop in your graduation studies. Many of you perhaps are already skilled in Tally. But what we will teach you here is the use of Excel. We will help you with communication skills because remember, commerce is all about business. And if you are going to enter the world of business, you need to be able to communicate in more than one language. We are very proud of our mother tongue. We should be very proud of our national language also. But the language of communication in the business world is English. Therefore, for those of you who are not very proficient in the language, we hold special classes to help you with the business languages. Besides that, we believe that sports is an important part of development. Therefore, every year, our students have a sports day where teams are made and several games are played in the sports day. Again, we give freedom to the students to choose games depending on their interests here. In addition to that, we believe that cultural advancement is as important as sports and academics. Therefore, we have Cultural Day and you can display all your cultural talent in those days. Having given you a background of the department, I will actually move forward and just offer you maybe one more thing I forgot to tell you. That is about our students. Your senior students are an excellent batch, just like the previous batches that have passed out from this department. Notably, I really want to point out that uh, two of our students have cleared their NET exam already. And from our previous batch, about 15 students are already placed, and the placements have been in companies like Infosys. So, having given you a small preview of the department, I'll go ahead and give you just one piece of advice. And my advice is, dear students, you are going to be here only for 22 months. And with your batch, it is even less than 22 months, perhaps only 18 or 16. My advice is use your time very, very wisely. See what you are today and see what you want to be 2 years from now. These next 1.5 years is the best time of your life to develop any skill set that you wish to develop and go ahead progressing in your life. With these words, I welcome you all to this induction program of MCOM, and I hand over back the mic to Salim. Thank you.
Thank you for your address, ma'am. That was heartwarming. Now, I would like to invite Jyoti to introduce our very first guest, Professor Dr. N.S. Umrani, Honorable Pro Vice Chancellor, SPPU.
It is indeed my privilege to introduce Honorable Pro Vice Chancellor of our university, Dr. N.S. Umrani sir. He is an educational administrator and a research guide in commerce, having total work experience of 35 years, which includes teaching, research, and industry experience. He has served as member of Board of Studies and member of Standing Committee in Savitribai Phule Pune University. He is working as NAC peer team member. In his early career, Dr. Umrani has worked in Air India's Finance and Accounts Department. After that, he has worked in BP Sulakhe Commerce College Barshi and Sri Shahu Mandir Mahavidyalaya Pune. Later, he worked as the principal of Garware College of Commerce Pune. He has completed M.Com in Advanced Accountancy from Shivaji University Kolhapur. He has completed postgraduate diploma in personal management and postgraduate diploma in business management from Mumbai. He holds PhD in commerce from SCPU. He has completed government diploma in corporation and accountancy. He is working as a research guide in business administration for PhD and MPhil in Savitribai Phule Pune University. Dr. Umrani sir has written various books on entrepreneurship, marketing, and banking. Along with this, sir has worked in various fields. I request sir to give inaugural address.
Good afternoon to all. Dr. Supriya Patil Madam, Dr. Sanjay Kaptan Sir, resource persons for the today's induction program, all the faculty members and my dear students. I am very happy today to be with you all. For any teacher, it is a wonderful opportunity to meet the students. In spite of the fact we are meeting online, but it is very important. You all have taken admission for M.Com program in the university. I extend very warm welcome to you all. At the same time, I congratulate all of you for making very important decision in your life to take admission in this great university. Dr. Patil Madam has told you a number of things regarding the university. How this university is working, its goodwill, its credentials, and its present ranking wise, placement wise, even expertise that we are having on the campus. Most importantly, library and ecosystem on the campus is highly useful for your own career. What is important for you is that you are going to meet wonderful friends on the campus, in the classroom, in the library. These all students come from various states, even from other countries. These all students bring with them with their knowledge, confidence, courage, communication skills, their wonderful cultures. I think hello, Patil Madam,
Sir, you're audible.
audible, no?
Yes, sir, I can hear you.
Yes. What is important, friends? These all friends, they bring in some fresh thoughts with them, and those thoughts and those cultures will probably make you wonderful person. The most important objective, motto of higher education is to make you perfect persons for industry, for business, for society. So that is why you all are very fortunate to have such type of ecosystem and people and persons and friends with you for 2 long years. Already you have lost 1 year In fact, world has lost 1 year, income wise, education wise, progress wise, even GDP wise. There is a huge setback to the economies in the world, economy of our country. But we have to start the career and life and education, learning, everything very fast, making the use of the resources and time that is available with us. Only human beings are capable to recover and recreate. And I'm confident this university will provide you all necessary help, all necessary knowledge during these 2 years. Most importantly, you should not forget that you should not turn a Nelson's eye that you are in business education. And always 24 hours, you should think of the requirements of the industry, the requirements of the business. Today, we all hear the concept of Industry 4.0. This is fourth industrial revolution, and we all are closely related to this revolution. That is why I request and appeal all of you during these 2 years, we have to keep in mind that we are in semester system. That means there are 4 semesters, numerous tests, seminars, conferences, presentations, assignments, visits, field visits, library visits. These all assignments are very, very important because in choice-based credit system, you are expected to undergo continuous evaluation. So continuous evaluation is the crux of CBCS, and hence, friends, it is a full-time course. Whole time you have to be either in the classroom or in the library or in assignment, academic assignment or projects. It is not a part-time program. Therefore, though there are the number of centers and facilities are there, these all facilities, even library, competitive examination center, placement, training, all these avenues and facilities are there in order to make your program robust and robust. In continuous evaluation, you have to have a partnership with the teachers. So teachers are going to be mentor and you are the learners. For the sake of convenience, we say you all are the students, but in higher education, everybody is a learner, including me. All the teachers are learner. Today, what is required is collaboration, coming together, partnership. Many industry will come on the campus for the purpose of interaction. We have Research Park Foundation, co-location has been provided. We have incubators. Such ecosystem is very important for the purpose of making ourselves perfect, complete person. In today's world, in order to be industry ready, world ready, what is required is all available on the campus. And we have very, very eminent teachers, entrepreneurs, visiting faculty. They all will make your career very, very strong. But your involvement, your engagement, your investment of time and energy is very, very important. Because in CBCS, what is important, what is required, what is expected is that outcomes, learning outcomes after 2 years, after first semester, after second semester, after third semester, after fourth semester, there must be drastic change in your thought process, in your ability, your capacity, your competence, whether it is accounting, taxation, marketing, finance, in all areas, your competence is very, very important. For that purpose, we need to have a collaboration, continuous learning, and at the same time, we have to improve our communication skills. Not only Marathi and Hindi, but we should be able to convey our feelings in wonderful English. For that purpose, we have to attend all the lectures, all the seminars, all the conferences, and you have to attend all the assignments given to you, industrial visits. Many times we invite entrepreneurs, those who have done wonderful job in employment creation, contribution to GDP, contribution to economy. These important people come to the department for the purpose of communicating with you. So you should be very, very cordial with them. You should be very, very eager to learn many things. Actually, HOD, faculty, we all are there to help you. But only thing is that you have to be very, very alert. You have to be very, very creative and be confident. And we are sure that after 2 years, either you will go for wonderful employment or your startups. We have to think startup. Still, we are not a developed country. Ours is a developing country. Number of problems are there. Number of issues are there. Social problems are there. If you do wonderful research during this program, you should be able to start your own small business, big business. If you're having own business, you can contribute, you can participate in family business also. So not only bookish knowledge, as Dr. Patil Madam has said, not only bookish knowledge, but what is required for industry, what is required for business, what is required for startup and entrepreneurs, all those things you should be able to learn within 2 years. On behalf of Savitribai Phule Pune University, I once again welcome you all on the campus online. As I said, learning outcomes are very, very important. You should be able to analyze the things. You should be able to apply the knowledge and skill that you are going to garner within 2 years. Once again, I congratulate you for taking admission for MCOM on this campus. Thank you, Dr. Patil Madam, for inviting me. Thank you once again, all.
Thank you, sir, for sharing your wisdom with us. Now I request Anviksha Gupta to introduce our next guest, Dr. Parag Kalkar, Dean, Faculty of Commerce and Management.
Good afternoon, everyone. It is my pleasure and privilege to once again welcome you all to the induction program. May I now take the honor of inviting Professor Dr. Parag Kalkar as Dean, Faculty of Commerce and Management. He is also the member of Management Council, member of Academic Council, member of Senate at Savitribai Phule Pune University. Sir has completed his PhD and later pursued FDP from IIMA. Beside teaching from almost 24 years, Sir has also contributed as professor and director at Sangha University and also worked as an academic council member, Senate member, and on the various exam and academic committees under Savitribai Phule Pune University. Not only this, Sir has published 31 research papers in national and international research journals and has authored and co-authored more than 14 books. Sir is indeed a member of Distinct Vision and founding a head of Illuminatic Ideas and the idol of knowledge, experience, and inspiration to all of us. Sir, we'll call upon you to enlighten us with your words. Thank you.
Very good afternoon. Hope I'm audible. Yeah. Honorable Dr. N.S. Umrani sir, Pro Vice Chancellor, Savitribai Phule Pune University. Dr. Supriya Patil Madam, Head of the Department of Commerce. Dr. Sanjay Kaptan sir, former Head of the Department of Commerce. Faculty members and students who have joined the Masters of Commerce program today. And we are starting, I think, because of the pandemic, we are starting in the month of January. But nothing late. I think the program is already taking launch. And as Honorable Umrani sir has told you, that don't take this as a graduate program, because in graduate program in commerce, we have little bit lighter way of thinking towards it. we attend or we may not attend the classes. We are not regular with the teaching learning process. We are more focused toward passing the examination, or our teaching learning process starts only whenever the timetable is announced for the semester end or a year end examination. Now, my friends, there is a difference between a graduate program and a postgraduate program. In a graduate program, you go to the class without reading the material, without reading what is going to be taught in the classroom. But we are expecting that in a postgraduate program, you have to know what syllabus is going to be covered in today's class. You have to go prepared. You have to give a thought. You have to learn by yourself. You have to read some books. Additional readings are required. It's not like a third person. You will go and just listen what teacher is asking. Asking question is also important. Whenever the students come prepared in the classroom, the level of classroom, the level of thought process goes on. It's more important. If you read the title 10 times, that is Master of Commerce. It is the final degree, it is the topmost degree, it's the highest degree in the field of commerce. Whenever we talk somebody about he's a master in certain skill, so I think that mastery has to be imbibed by doing something. When you're going to get a degree of Master of Commerce at the end of this 2 years program, I think that mastery should be seen not in your degree, not in the your visiting card, but in your behavior, the way you think, the way you take decisions, the way your thought process has been running. I think the master's program needs to be done in that way. Whenever we call somebody as a master of something, I think that mastery is very, very important thing. So it's not just doing a course, it's not just passing through the subjects, just not getting a first class or a degree, but it is a different process. When you go to the doctor, I think, and the doctors ask you what has happened to you, you tell him something is going wrong with you, something is happening with you. What he does is he first listens to you. Then based on the symptoms, understanding your age, your facial expression, he suggests some tests to you. And based on the test, he gets some test result. And based on the result, your age, your history, he suggests you some medicine. And that's why we go to the doctor. If the doctor is of international expertise and just watching at you or seeing your face, he prescribes you some medicine, I think you will not believe at the doctor. So the scientific way of handling things is more important when you treat yourself as a master's level student. Now in future, research-based teaching, research-based universities, and research-based decision-making will be becoming more important. As sir has told that Industry 4.0, we have got a lot of changes where the routine work, monotonous work is done by the computer. So tallying a balance sheet, preparing a balance sheet, or preparing a cost sheet, easily a routine work can be done by using some software, Excel sheet, tally sheet. So basic formulas can be entered in, but interpretation, understanding, correlation, expression, these all things are very, very important. So the routing thing will be done by the computer. So we need a people, we need a commerce postgraduate who are not behind the machine, just making entries, but we need them to think ahead of machine. I think that kind of thought process we all need to keep in mind. So this 2 years is an investment in your future career. If you want just a degree for the sake of degree, I think you can get any degree called MBA or MCOM or MSc or similar kind of thing. But really, if you want to become a master in commerce, if you see the field of professional field like e-commerce, or there are various companies who are doing their businesses in a commerce field, I think you will understand the kind of requirement of excellent manpower, skilled manpower power is really required. But unless until you train your mind in that way, if I give you 10 balance sheets, and if I ask you that since you have done your graduate program, most of you must have done your commerce program, can you read the balance sheet? Can you tell me from the balance sheet, out of this 10 balance sheet, which company is having sound financial position and why? If I have to invest 1 lakh rupees as a deposit or in the form of share into any of these 2 companies, can you shortlist 2 companies applying scientific formula and method? Just a balance sheet is given to you. Every one of us get the balance sheet at their home for the companies where our parents or our elders have subscribed on the share, banks or some other thing. what we do with the balance sheet. Do we really read the balance sheet? Do we really go through the balance sheet? Do we really understand the balance sheet? Or not in the sense which we solve the problems in the classroom, but going through the balance sheet, how we correlate figures, previous year figure, this year figure, and any other ratios can be derived out of it. And can we predict what is going to happen to the future of this company? So I think this kind of mindset need to be created not only by just passing the examination, but really understanding in depth, analyzing in depth, and correlating some figures and trying to find out that how this kind of ratios, this kind of percentages, this kind of relation is going to handle, get into the future of this company, success or failure of the company. So this analytical mind, I think you all need to invest. There are very good opportunities available for the student who are really master in commerce, not having degree of master in commerce. But I think we need a lot of people. There are a lot of online companies are there. There are financial transactions happening on site. There are a lot of fraudulent activities are happening as far as the online finance is concerned. Forensic accounting is the very subject. Behavioral finance is the upcoming subject. So many subjects are coming. Digital marketing is coming up. So I think we have ample of opportunities available, and our department in commerce will definitely ensure that the process of teaching learning happen in such a way. Teaching learning process will happen in such a way that you will really become a master of this kind of event. And when you come out of this MCON program, you will learn that whatever best you have done as far as the Master of Commerce program is there. So I wish all students all the best. Let's focus only 2 years are the final 2 years of your career. If you don't make serious efforts, I think this 2 years will pass away like other 15, 16 years have passed away. But I think you have to really look into the things that how you can really invest in yourself by investing, going into the library, talking with your teacher, interacting with your expert, and try to making your own analytical mind to see that what is the future of commerce and where you stand in the field of commerce as far as the career future is concerned. I really wish all the best to you as a career. Do not worry about the pandemic. I think online and offline will happen in due course, but you are very fortunate to gain admission in the Department of Commerce, because being a part and parcel of university is the first great achievement for all of you. For that, I will congratulate you, and I wish you all the best wishes in your career. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for sharing your great knowledge with us. Moving on, our guest of honor, Dr. Sanjay Kaptan, Chair Professor for Subculture, will be introduced by Apurva Gupta.
Good afternoon to all, and a warm welcome to the new students. It is my honor to introduce to you all one of the most experienced faculty of our department, Dr. Sanjay Kaptan. Dr. Sanjay Kaptan is a professor and also the previous head of a Department of Commerce. He is currently the chair professor of Savaka Chair. After completing his master's in commerce, in his pursuit for knowledge, he further pursued master's in business administration, in finance and marketing, and later completed his PhD. With more than 30 years of experience in the academic field, he has spent his entire life in teaching, nurturing, and imparting knowledge of the utmost level. He has also been a recognized guide for PhD program in University of Pune since the year 2008, and till date, 15 students have completed their doctorate under the supervision of Dr. Kaptan. His contribution along this journey has thus helped in touching, shaping, and reshaping the lives and careers of many students. His guidance have helped his students to find the right path among the chaos that is the student life. He has also contributed in development of e-contents, having worked as a coordinator for e-contents development program for Vyas channel of UGC. Dr. Kaptan has written and edited nearly 50 e-content development program which are telecasted through Vyas channel of UGC. He has also made significant contribution in academic writing, having authored numerous articles in vast array of subjects in national as well as international journals, conferences, publications, and books. He is thus an inspiration and a role model for many of us today. With this, I would now like to request sir to kindly share his valuable advice and knowledge with us all. Thank you.
Thank you, madam. Thank you. Am I audible? Hello. Can you all listen to me?
Yes, sir. We can hear you.
First of all, and can you see my presentation?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Both the things are good. First of all, I thank Miss Apurva for introducing me and telling me about many
Kaptan sir,
things.
please make it full screen presentation.
Yes, madam. Just a minute.
Thank you.
Is it okay now? Can you see all?
Yeah, it's converting. Yes.
Is it visible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. First of all, I thank Miss Apurva for introducing me. She has told me about many of my facets of life, which I was also not knowing well. So thanks for such a nice introduction. And now you are all almost have joined this glorious department and this great university. The purpose today of my having a dialogue with you is to tell you something about induction. My friends, after passing a graduation, you definitely have learnt many things, and very little remains to be learnt, but a large number of things remain to be understood. I think we are here to understand than to learn. First of all, let me tell you what is induction. It is to orient people and develop a feeling of trust between the institution and the person, maybe employee or a student, to enrich friendliness and acquaint them with the system. There are many ways of orienting and inducting people. Sometimes people take shelter of old and very simple ways of explaining the things. Here I have a small story about Lord Buddha, which explains what is induction. There are many people who often presume that they know many things, they understand everything. But however, knowledge is something which cannot be rightly acquired in this way. Knowledge is not just getting information, it is more than that. It is understanding and assimilating the things which you want to understand. So, when you join an institution, you often are new. You are keen to know and willing to develop yourself with the institution, participate in its activities, and know how this will help you to familiarize with the environment. I hope you all have heard the name Hewlett and Packard. Both of them wanted to join Stanford University, but they were having a very poor score. Naturally, it was difficult to get admission to universities like Stanford when you do not have a good score, good academic rating. However, Mr. Hewlett was a good football player and Packard too. So they got admission in the sports quota. They were never treated as good students by the university and by the department. But in their tenure in this university, they not only shined in the field of football, but in academics. After passing and getting a degree from Stanford, 20 years after, University of Stanford received a letter. We are thankful to our alma mater for helping us to come to this level. So a small token of gift, $50 million. That is how people understand, remember, and recognize their institutions. So what we do try to know the structure of the institution, the norms of behavior, the etiquettes that we are supposed to follow, the formal relations that we have to maintain, and the informal way to communicate with people. Try to understand. Every institution which you join for the first time is in a way foreign to you. But once you understand what is its structure, its nature, you automatically develop a kind of relationship, a bond of affinity, and a simple way to express yourself in a right environment, in a right manner. We are here for search of knowledge. It is a difficult task in a sense that knowledge is not never delivered, it is gained. And unless until we know who with whom we are going to learn, we cannot get the right kind of knowledge. This institution has a great academic standing. It is a cultural icon of this state, and it is a symbol of excellence. Therefore, whenever you will be getting out of this university from this department, you will automatically be having an imprint of a stamp of quality. But please try to understand, it is you and people like you who have made this institution a great institution. Every great institution is the lengthened shadow of every single individual like you. The character that you have, the character that you explain to others as your basic structure becomes the character of the organization. You often are the representative and the ambassador of the institution. Whatever institution you will join after passing from this university will consider you as a product of this university, of this department. And therefore, you must keep on understanding the importance of this institution in making your personality. When you join this institution, you share a piece of its heritage, its culture, and its knowledge resource. This institution works with trust and respect and oneness. Try to understand. It is easy to say about all these values, but it is very difficult to assimilate, learn, and express these values in our day to day behavior. Many people, often because of their ego, because of their improper concept of self, cannot work in a right business environment. I am sure this institution will help you to understand what makes a good business person, what makes a good manager. And therefore, when you join this institution, understand its culture first. And why this program? Why MCOM? And that too, why this program from this university? I remember Nelson Mandela, who says, I never lose. I either win or learn. Whenever you are studying in this department, always remember every opportunity of learning that you get will make you, will change you, will develop you. You may not be the first every time, you may not be the winner every time, but what you gain in terms of knowledge, excellence, skills, aptitude, and attitude is very important. That will shape your mindset to become a competitive person, to become a great man, to become a great student. And whenever you try to gain, what you should try to gain is very important, consistency. There is a small story of a frog who has wrongly fallen in a well. It was difficult for the frog to come out of the well, but he tried. Every time when he jumped, he could jump for 2 feet and he came down 1 feet. But it is his consistency that made him to come out of the well. That is true for everyone in every walk of life. There will be problems, there will be difficulties, there will be challenges and odds. But if we can maintain a consistency of efforts, definitely we can win. Please try to understand there are always better ways of learning, which means these ways of learning change your personality, improve. Knowledge inputs that you get from your teacher often may be inadequate, but the knowledge input that you gain from your experience, your understanding, your way to learn are more important. So here are 10 commandments which I advise you as your senior friend to keep in mind if at all you want to become a successful commerce graduate. These are the pieces of experience that I have gained while working in this institution. I'm sure to a certain extent, these small pieces of simple but useful inputs may help you to become a more knowledgeable and successful person. What are these? The first commandment is be proactive. Always try to learn something on your own. Do not wait for the opportunity to come to you. Try to search for the opportunity. There's a small story of an organization. There were many youths working in that organization and a very handsome girl, very beautiful girl. Everyone wanted to marry her, but she married to a very ordinary looking person. So everyone was amazed and they asked him, what made her to marry you? He said, none of you ever dared to ask her, will you marry with me? I dared, and she said yes. Yes, that is true. If you are proactive, you can learn, you can accept challenge, you can encash every opportunity. What is the second commandment? Never stop learning. Knowledge never ends. My friend, today in this world of information explosion, the extent of learning has become endless. You can learn many things continuously and simultaneously also. Learning has become a ever changing, ever developing process. And therefore, learn from all possible sources. Learn to develop your personality. The third commandment is discipline is the key. Anyone who is not disciplined in his life will always miss the bus. It is discipline is the elixir of all success. It is easy to do wrong, but it is difficult to correct the wrong. And therefore, at the first step, never commit a mistake. Don't behave in an indisciplined manner. It is the bridge between the goal and the accomplishments. And therefore, you should try to achieve it. The fourth commandment is to be a total person. Remember, no graduate, whether he is a graduate in commerce or science discipline, is complete unless until he has developed his total or holistic personality. Try to have a right and positive attitude. Try to learn different types of soft skills and try to understand how better I can be than others. There is a very famous slogan of Sony Corporation, which says, be better and not behind. If not better, be different. Try to understand the essence of this slogan. Unless you are better and different, people will not take into account your worth. The fifth commandment is keep on acquiring multiple skills, skills that matter. Try to understand a commerce graduate can work in different capacities in different types of organizations. However, what he need to have is a right and very good set of effective skills, skills that can be rightly and effectively applied in different situations. The famous story of Eklavya is known to all. It need not be told at length, but remember, one who has a great desire to learn and acquire new knowledge can always do well and can always compete. Sixth commandment is very important. Try to understand this is the world of technology. Different types of technologies are coming every day. In year before, I used to learn about big data, in IoT, robotics, artificial intelligence. They are not the words, they are not the systems or technologies alone. They are the things that influence your life. They are the things that influence your jobs. They are the things that change the organizational working. And therefore, acquire best of the technologies that are available in your field. Latest technologies related with cyber, computers, artificial intelligence, and anything that will help you to get a good job to make you a skilled person. The seventh commandment is multiple skilling. There is a small story of an average Indian. He can perform multiple jobs simultaneously, like this. While driving, he talks on mobile and gives commands to others or listens to others. This is the world of multi-skilling. A man who can prove his worth in different spheres of life only can survive. You cannot be an accountant alone, but you should be at the same time an expert communicator. You should be also expert to negotiate. You should be also expert to lead the team and work in a group. So you should have multiple skills that will make you a complete person, that will make you not only an employable, but a successful entrepreneur also. The eighth commandment is know what you are. Very important. This is a story about a small lion who was lost in jungle and he was nurtured by sheep. So he started thinking like sheep. But remember, a lion is a lion. No sooner he understands himself he is a lion, he can change the jungle. He can make the jungle his slave. Often, many of us who take a degree fail to understand what they are, what is their talent, what is the skill set they possess, what are the abilities they acquire. Unless until you realize your own potential, you can never become a successful person. The ninth commandment is cultivate competitive spirit, which is very important. There is a story of an American and a Japanese. Both were running and going through a jungle. Suddenly, they encountered with a lion. The Japanese said to the American, "Run fast now and save your life or climb this tree." The American asked him why. He said, "Because the lion is after you. I can run faster than the lion." Everyone who can excel, who can do better than others, only have a chance to survive. So those who can compete only will survive. This is the old Darwinism, old law of Darwin for a competitive world. Competition is a kind of spirit. It is a desire to win. Unless until you develop that desire to win, you will not gain, you will not succeed. The 10th commandment, there is no substitute to hard work. Those who toil hands and work long usually survive more. Please try to understand. You will be working for next 30-35 years. Do you expect the world to remain same in terms of technology, in terms of business environment, in terms of business systems? The answer is definitely no. After every 5 years, most of the business systems change. Many new techniques, many new ways of doing the work emerge. It is necessary for us to understand this and keep on working hard. That will only make us a successful commerce graduate. The way forward, my friend, is very difficult. Every graduate who is today in a department has a future horizon of work for next 30-35 years. Think of the new and changed world. Just take a look at the past for last 30 years. How many things have changed? Many machines, many systems, many devices have just been replaced. They have become pieces of museum. Then why the today's world will have the same devices for next 30 years? Why the today's world will have the same devices, same system for next 30 years? The world keeps on changing. It becomes more brave, progressive, advanced, and competitive. Naturally, unless and until we prepare for these kind of competition, we may not survive for long. And therefore, the world around us is a very different kind of thing. It's extremely dynamic. Business encourages always the best. There is no place for number two in any business organization. No one can compromise with quality. No business ever compromises with quality. So learn to understand importance of quality. Prepare yourself in terms of skills and competence. Then only you can survive. So there is no reason to fear, but there is a reason to understand the world, understand the things, and keep ourselves ready for this new demanding industrial environment. Never feel that you cannot win. Never stop. Never lose your courage whenever you are facing a difficult, challenging situation. Please remember, this department works as an energy booster. It's a small story. A frog decided to reach at the top of a tree. All frogs shouted, "It is impossible. It is impossible. You will never be able to climb to the top of the tree." Still, the frog reached the top. How? Because he was deaf. And he thought everyone was encouraging him to reach to the top. Be deaf to negative thoughts. If your aim is to reach the real goal, then keep on working. Continuous work, systematic approach, positive thinking only can make you a great graduate, a good student. I'm sure in the days to come, you will be one of the successful commerce graduate who will bring laurels to this department. At the last, let me tell you about Daniel Webster. I hope you might have heard this name. He was a person who composed the 20th century Webster's dictionary, a great and extraordinary linguist, as well as a great lawyer and a great jury and judge. When he was young, his father, who was also a lawyer, asked him, "What you want to be?" He said, "I want to be a member of the law bar." His father said, "Have you not seen the large number of unemployed, useless lawyers around me? Then why you want to become a lawyer?" What Daniel Webster has said should be remembered by everyone. He said, "There is enough room at the top. If you really strive for the top, if you really strive for the excellence, you can always win." As rightly said by Kabir Das, "जिन खोजा तिन पाया गहरे पानी पैठ, जो बवरा डूब न डरा, रहा किनारे बैठ." So think of a wide open horizon, a great dream that will come to you when you make efforts because you are the best. Hence, you can give the best. I'm sure these 2 years of time in this department will teach you many things, will make you a successful person, will change your personality, and will make you a totally altered, successful, competent commerce graduate, ready to enter the world of employment, start his own units, or become a successful entrepreneur and also a great citizen of this country. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir,
Thank you.
for motivating this young generation. Last but not the least, the most awaited, I would like to invite our chief guest, Ms. Rujuta Prakash Jagtap, Executive Director of Saj Test Plant Private Limited, whose presence makes the entire program glorious. Ms. Rujuta, a second generation entrepreneur, has done her MBA in international business from Symbiosis. She then went on to work for Tata in 2002, handling their international sales and marketing business in Maharashtra. In 2006, she joined her family business at Saj Test Plant Private Limited. Saj is into manufacturing of test equipments like dynamometers, control systems, data acquisition software, test bed accessories for automotive. Ms. Rujuta is the first woman chairperson of the Indo-American Chamber of Commerce 2021. She is also the director on the board of MCCIA since 2016, when she became the first woman to get elected on the board of MCCIA in the office bearer's position since its inception 83 years ago. She was a keynote speaker at IIM Ahmedabad's flagship event Confluence in 2015. She has also featured in the March 2014 edition of Business for All magazine. Through her zealous approach, she has always been a beacon of motivation for all emerging entrepreneurs out there. Now I request her to take over and influence these future entrepreneurs as well.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, we can.
A very good evening to everyone. I'm Rujuta Jagtap. Thank you so much for a warm welcome and a brilliant set of speakers before me, I would say. Thank you so much, Dr. Kaptan, Dr. Professor Umrani, Dr. Kalkar, Dr. Supriya Patil. Thank you so much, and the rest of the team. If I would have forgotten any names, pardon me for that. Thank you so much for inviting me over today at this auspicious induction program of your MCOM students. It's been a proud privilege for me actually to speak today at this event. I have actually sort of categorized my talk into three parts. One is talking about the company, which is our company, which is started actually by my father, who's a first generation entrepreneur. 51 years ago, the company was started. Then I'll talk about my story. Then I would talk about what the corporate world is looking for in students today. So how to be ready for the corporate world and some takeaways there. So with this, I would start my narration about how the company started. So basically the company which I work for is started by my father, Mr. Prakash Jagtap, and the company name is Saj Test Plant Private Limited, started 51 years ago. I would say it's even more commendable to note that Mr. Jagtap was a BE mechanical from COEP, and he started the business in a small garage straight out of engineering college, despite having absolutely full scholarship to do his master's from Michigan State University. But he gave it all up actually because on one hand, had he gone abroad, he would have pursued his master's and never come back. On the other hand, there was this lucrative opportunity to start this business, which was actually at that point an import substitution opportunity. And nobody was actually in India manufacturing these products. So he decided to travel the road which was never traveled. He gave up his master's with full scholarship, which was a Michigan State University master's. He gave it up at the tender age of 21. He started this company from a garage, absolutely with no experience, with no financial backup. He's one amongst 8 children born to a school teacher. And he took this risk, he took this opportunity, and he gave it his best shot. I would say this is what entrepreneurship is all about. Being a first generation entrepreneur has a lot of struggles, has a lot of challenges. So I want to touch upon a little bit about that before I begin my journey. So our company, of course, is into manufacturing of test equipments for engine vehicle transmission testing, customized special test rigs for the last 51 years. Started by Mr. Prakash Jagtap. We have more than 750 customers today who patronize us, and more than 6,500 installations in the country and globally. We have been catering to different sectors like aerospace, automotive, locomotive, marine, electric vehicles now, technical institutes, and a whole lot of diverse segments as well. I would like to focus on what were the struggles that he went through when he started off as a founder as a first generation in an era in the 1960s when there was absolutely no aid whatsoever. For instance, we've got mobile phones today, internet, all new age technologies. Nothing of this ever existed in that era. And that's when he started this journey. And that is, I think, the most commendable start that one could ever make. Because the ease of startups that we have today is definitely way higher than what it was back then. Mr. Jagtap actually took a loan from the bank with absolutely no credentials, but his only credential was his acumen, his hard work, his passion, that actually helps the bank to, instill confidence in him, I would say. The struggle didn't end there. He actually was barely 21 years of age, as I mentioned to you, very young. Nobody would, believe that such a young boy can actually start a business. Nobody really, had confidence in him because he was young, nothing else. He had a brilliant, roaring academic career, always a topper in his schooling, college. He was a engineering grad from COEP, one of the top institutes in engineering in Pune. And despite all of this, he also did technical schooling. He started making products way back in his school days to help his mother. In the kitchen, he made these electrical churners and stuff like that. He made a lot of projects. He made a car in his second year of engineering. So he was a technocrat and he made products. Despite that, people wouldn't believe a young tad at 21 years of age. And, this was one of his, major challenges. He later on wanted to, he started the journey in 1969. Then he wanted to obviously get the best of technology from overseas, for which he wanted a joint venture partner. Now, this technology was only in Germany and UK and the US. And he traveled almost for 60 days with very little means, traveling in the night so that he doesn't need to, waste those minimum resources in hotels and stuff like that. And he optimized those resources. They did not allow him, nobody entertained him abroad. They shunned him. He came back to India. He decided, forget it, I'm not going to look at anybody else. I'll start off on my own. And he kept innovating new products. You will not believe when it was 1980, when the Germans and Britishers who he had gone back and approached, they came scouting for him because he was innovating products which were absolutely stunning. And nobody could believe that a young, Turk at his age could do it. They came and they offered joint venture partnerships to him. And that's where we had a joint venture for 17 years with a British company, which is a pioneer in this segment. And we did the technology transfer and jumped the technology curve. I would say that is a mark of a true entrepreneur. That is a mark of, a technocrat. I think there is so much to learn from a first generation entrepreneur. And therefore, I wanted to start my story with that, because the entire credit of this enterprise, which is a 51-year-old enterprise where my father, Mr. Prakash Jagtap, is still working at 75 years of age actively, the entire credit of the success of this goes to him entirely. I came on in about 15 years ago in 2006. Me amongst 4 siblings. I have a commerce background just like y'all. I came into the business in 2006 with about 4.5 years of experience before that. So I did my commerce, I did my MBA in international marketing, and then I worked with Tata Steel in Bombay for about 4.5 years, which is a metallurgy industry. And then I joined my business in 2006. So coming from actually a commerce background, I worked in predominantly in the last, you can say almost 20 years, I've worked in metallurgy for the first 4.5 years, and then mechatronics for the last 15 years. So I am, I would say, an odd person out, because in our field in the last 20 years, it's only been predominantly engineers who work in this field. So it was unheard of, firstly, a non-engineering person to come and, take on as a second generation. Secondly, a woman in this industry. In the manufacturing space, there has been almost when I started off, there were no women in those positions, even in the managerial positions. They were predominantly in Tata Steel. There were secretarial roles that women were taking on. Very, very few were in the sales and marketing domain, managerial domain in the manufacturing industry. But nothing really deterred me, to be honest. I was hell-bent on proving myself. In fact, my father was insisting that after my MBA, I start work with him immediately, which I was not very keen to do for one reason. I wanted to prove my mettle outside, my caliber outside at another industry where nobody knows me, in a different city entirely where nobody knows me, and prove my mettle there, learn there, and then come into my family business. With a lot of persuasion, my mother stood by me and convinced him, and I got the opportunity of working. He gave me permissions of 6 months. I worked for 4.5 years. I handled 3 years of international sales and marketing, 1.5 years of domestic sales and marketing. And I learned a lot in Bombay, in Tata Steel. One thing I would always suggest to people who have family businesses to go back to, I would always suggest that you work outside, and not only in a different company before you join your family business, but also in a different city, which you don't know anything about, or where you don't know anybody. Because not only is the work going to teach you a lot, but also staying independently on your own without a protective or secured environment, you would learn so much more, be it be it fending for yourself, be it completely being independent. So on the personal as well as the professional front, I think I learned a lot. The grooming happened while I was in Bombay because I was completely on my own. So that would be a piece of my advice that I would give the students out here who have a family business and who would be joining that eventually. That's a strong recommendation that I have. The other thing is, I would always say that if you want to take on the corporate role after your MCOM, if you want to do a job immediately, that's perfectly fine. But if you want to do an MBA, you would possibly want to evaluate working first and then doing an MBA. So that definitely adds a lot of value in terms of you would get a real good perspective as to how to implement the theory into practice. So when you do your master's or MCOM, that's perfectly fine that you do directly after your graduation. But when it comes to an MBA, I would always strongly recommend that you work for at least 2, 3, 4 years and then get into the corporate world. That will really, really add a lot of value to you as well as the employer that is going to take you on. That's another piece of my advice. So as I go along, I think I would also keep giving you some suggestions that I think are very relevant in today's day and age, what I've learned from my experience. After that, I would say there are some challenges, of course, as a second generation entrepreneur that come your way, and you've got to take it very gracefully. Let me just touch upon some of them. For example, when I joined my family business, there was, of course, everything was perfect, but the new age technologies like maybe ERP systems, PMS, performance management systems, decentralized decision making, lack of knowledge management. Then again, as I mentioned earlier, being a woman in a man's world, not only in my company, but also in the different ecosystem, be it my customers, my vendors, my other ecosystem partners, were always used to dealing with men in the corporate world in the manufacturing space. So obviously this was something that was a very different perspective that I brought to the table. And I think it really, it's important that you have confidence in yourself and prove it to the others for them to get confidence in you. I think that is very, very important. So I gotten all of these, practices into the organization. There's still, obviously, I'm getting on more, like, for example, IoT or the new age practices that we're looking for in terms of predictive maintenance and all of that. It's very, very important that you, look at your organization and make your organization sort of, people should not be indispensable, for which automation systems is extremely imperative. And a PMS is extremely important, or the performance management systems is very important to get an accountability for job rotations, for skills enhancement. And decentralized decision making really, really instills that decision making power in each and every person. I think every single person within the organization, all of you guys, when you all join the organizations, even as a professional, I think it's very important for you all to be like intrapreneurs, which is an entrepreneur within the organization. So it could be that some of you get into your family business, some of you all actually join, professional organizations, or then you start up an organization of your own. In every space, it's very important that you yourself are of course, setting an example, but also at the same time try and inculcate that entrepreneurial culture within your organization. Or if you're in a profession, be an entrepreneur, which is acting as an entrepreneur within the organization, working as if this organization belongs to you. That is extremely important, and that's what organizations are looking for. That's extremely important. So when I joined my organization, actually I didn't come directly at the top. I actually worked my way bottoms up. So when I joined the organization, I actually was working on the shop floor with the workers. Being a commerce graduate, I wanted to understand the technology. So I actually worked with the workers, doing the burring and deburring operations, building the products myself. And that in the process not only taught me the product, but also actually I broke the ice with the shop floor workers, also build a rapport with the colleagues, with the employees, with the workers, which is very, very important, because tomorrow when you're going to step into the shoes of management, that's when you need that that rapport with the employees, that bond with the employees, which is extremely very very critical, I would say, to succeed. These are some of the, I think, takeaways that I would like to emphasize on. Extremely important. Then I would say, what are the strengths that I had in the organization already, which existed, right? So I have to leverage the strengths which came along with the organization, which was already a 37-year-old organization when I joined it. Today it's 51 years old, but when I joined the company 15 years ago, it was about 37 years old. But it already had experienced and expert manpower, a legacy and rich experience, and it was a pioneering company in this space of test equipments. Indigenous manufacturing infrastructure we had, state-of-the-art facility, complete end-to-end infrastructure. Erstwhile, we had a monopoly. So we had a huge installation base, customer base, a very good reputation in India and overseas, and a very good reputation that my father carries, which is from the very beginning, and highest level of product quality. Now, I needed to leverage these strengths and work around these to tide over the challenges that I had, which I cited earlier, so that it's a win-win for the organization as a whole. And I think I did that, fortunately, fairly well in the last 15 years. One very important thing, I think, which I would say today to each and every one of you, is networking. Not only do you need to have hardcore knowledge, experience, and the traits that I mentioned a little earlier, but also networking is core to any profession. You have to ensure that you network with the right people, and networking always helps and goes a long way. For me, I actually am also, I went on to become the first woman on the board of MCCI, now the first woman to become the chairperson of the Indo-American Chamber of Commerce and the British Business Group as well, where I'm the vice chairperson. So that really helped me. That's because when I actually started off on the networking journey, that's when people recognize, see the sincerity in you, and then you get these opportunities as you go along. I never seeked them; they just came along the way. If you're sincere and passionate about whatever you do, I think sky is the limit where you can go, to be honest. So what's the moral of my story? Nothing is impossible. If you set your heart to anything in life passionately and pursue it completely. I'm a stark example where I worked in both companies, which were metallurgy and mechatronics companies, and without an engineering background, I still succeeded. There are many such stark examples that you will come across. I would say, what are the traits that today, organizations are looking for in individuals? So when you all finish your MCOM and join the corporate world, I think there are certain traits that you all should, of course, wonderfully summed up by the earlier speakers as well. But let's add on to, a few more. So the intellectual curiousness, which is basically very fundamental and very important to every profession. You need to be interested in and engaged with your subject. The willingness to find something worthwhile in whatever issue you are currently studying will actually help you to form, the complete, the perspective that you bring to the table will be much more unique. So be curious, be very curious, and keep, gaining knowledge and dissipating knowledge, which is extremely important. So be intellectually curious at all times. Be self-driven. People or organizations are not looking at people who need spoon feeding, to be honest. They want self-starters who are self-motivated and do not need spoon feeding, and who take initiatives on their own. It's very important that you build in this trait into you. The more self-driven you are, the more you will learn, and the more you will rise in the organization on a fast track. Good time management is another one, I would say, because every organization is going to look at people who are most productive. And any facet of motivation is the ability to take the control over your time and your schedule. And believe you me, time is the essence of everything. You need to ensure that you are being the most productive in the given time by planning your activities extremely aptly, ensuring a daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, annual plans, and you ensure that you achieve them. Just don't just make them for penning them down on paper, but actually ensure that you achieve them. Otherwise, it's just preaching and not practicing what you're preaching. Then one more important aspect, capability of admitting uncertainty. See, nobody knows everything. Nobody is perfect, right? You are in the journey of learning all the time. So often you may feel a little embarrassed to ask very basic questions, but I think you should not. If you are a learner and constant learner in your life, you will rise up and people will acknowledge and appreciate that. So you ensure that, it's fine to say that you don't know something or if you don't understand something. This way, at least your teachers or your other colleagues around you, your co-students will help you by, explaining the topic more clearly. Somebody who's understood it even more, or who has subject matter expertise. And that will benefit you in the long run. So never shy away from admitting that you don't know something, but learn from the experts. Be creative and original. I think that's very important. See, there are many people who imitate or who ape the others, but I think what people are looking at is being creative and original in whatever way. It need not be some rocket science that you come out with or whatever. I think it's even in small ways. If you do any kind of innovations, any kind of original ideas that you come out with on your own, I think everybody appreciates that. So don't be afraid to give in your opinion on a topic or argument, even if it's contradictory to what the others or the majority have to say. As long as you can justify your views, your teachers or your other students will definitely welcome your spirit. So I think that's very important, to be creative and original in your ways of thinking and about any problem. That's very, very important. This is the way to solve any problem in the most innovative way. Another takeaway, I think, thinking broadly and seeking the big picture. It's very important that you don't have a short-sighted view on anything. It's very important for you to stay well-informed about the range of topics that are available out there, even those which don't really, relate to you directly. So even if you're just in MCOM, I think you need to look at other, very important disruptive technologies which are doing the rounds currently, which could be, MI, that's machine, there could be machine learning, artificial intelligence, industrial IoT, 3D printing, so many other areas. So I think even if it's not your own specialization, I think you need to have, information and awareness about these other disruptive technologies which are around us. And this will allow you to actually put what you know in a larger context as well and relate to that. And always look at a broader picture, always. Be extremely keen on reading and try and have analytical skills. Reading is extremely important. There is no substitute to reading. It's not only important to read, obviously, the papers and be updated on the current affairs, but you need to learn and read about other things that I talked about, like disruptive technologies, your topics that you're interested in. Read books which are extremely, very, very inspiring. And I think that's very important, that you keep your knowledge base ongoing in different, genres. That's very, very important, because the ability to read diverse materials and, glean on the relevant facts, and the ability to write up your findings in a clear and engaging way would always help you to stand out from the rest. And, that'll be an aspect which is always going to stand out from the rest. And I think that is what you need to inculcate in your daily schedule. At least dedicate an hour or two to reading, apart from your normal subject that you're reading for your commerce. So I think it's important that you read an hour or two of other things as well. This would go a long way. Communication skills is extremely important. There are so many times where they're brilliant people, but unfortunately they lack communication. So it's extremely important that you focus on that. Try and hone your communication skills, because it's, even if you're brilliant, but if you can't put your point across in the right manner, it will unfortunately fall flat. So it's important the way you present the information that you know to both the lay audience as well as an expert audience, and how you demonstrate the grasp of your material. That is very, very important. practice, presentation skills in front of an audience. First, you could do it on your own, and then you just go out, speak in front of your friends, and take on every opportunity to talk in front of audiences. That's going to go a long way as well. To break that stage fright, to put your views across aptly is what the corporate world wants. So make slides, engage in debates. That's very, very important for your future. Be a fantastic communicator, and half your battle is won there and then. Then you should be capable of actually performing under pressure. See, there is going to be a lot of pressure. Do not think this journey in the corporate world is hunky-dory. If you want to perform, if you want to go on the fast track, you have to perform. And there is no 9-to-5 job. You have to show that willingness to put in extra hours on your own, and to be calm and not panic when there are stressful situations. That's when you're going to perform to the best of your ability. Fortunately, this is something which tends to come with practice. And the more you do it, the more proficient you become in this. So I think it's very important for you to perform under pressure with a calm and composed mind. And, half the battle is won again there. Ability to listen and understand others' perspectives. You can be a brilliant person, but if you don't have the listening capabilities or understanding others' perspectives, you will not be able to, merge in the crowd. It's a very important characteristic that you have to, imbibe in you. You may not realize that you need this, but you need it. Basically, the academic success is not only about putting forward your views, I would say. It is also to be able to engage productively in a conversation with the others, and with others having different perspectives, learning to listen, to argue constructively, and to not only being you should never be defensive about your own ideas, but you'll be a better student and a better professional if you encourage others as well. That is very key. Team players, you've got to be team players wherever you are, be it in your college assignments, be it in the corporate world. People will put you in diverse groups, and I think it's very important to be in diverse groups where everybody comes from a different function or different role, because there's so much learning that everybody brings to the table, right? So I think it's important that you be in diverse groups where you can learn from each other. And it's important, even if you have a leadership trait in the group, you shouldn't overpower the weaker ones. You should actually hold them up and get them to become stronger as you are. I think that's very important. Attitude is everything. I would say attitude is most important. The attitude you bring to the table will actually determine your success. If you have the positive attitude, I think there's no looking back. And one more important aspect, I would say, a couple of final pointers. Identify mentors. It could be in your teachers, in your family, in your friends. It could be from any walk of life that you can identify mentors who you can actually gather information from, experience from, and there's so much learning that comes from them. So I think it's very important for you to look for mentors. In fact, there are organizations which are like TIE, the Youngest Entrepreneurs, where they have actually mentors that are teaching startups or students. They actually handled the students to get into the journey of the corporate world, and I'll tell you a little more about that. Join the organizations to stay. I think hopping jobs is not what organizations are looking for. So if you're going to join the corporate world, try and be there as a contributor to the organization for a long term and not a short term, because the more you hop, the more you're going to lose credibility and the more unstable you're going to be construed to be. So don't hop jobs unless there is a very compelling reason and unavoidable reason. I would say the last pieces of advice to you is take on additional responsibilities wherever you are. Don't be stuck to your role and profile that you're going to be working into. Learn to also work in, sort of dabble with other functions where you will learn so much more, and that will actually be extremely enriching in your journey. Last but not the least, I would just give you some last pieces of my advice. There are five pointers. There are organizations like TIE, I mentioned, the Youngest Entrepreneurs, there's Bhau Institute and many other startup organizations where you should actually, if you are planning to become a startup entrepreneur, you can possibly engage with these organizations where you will actually get a lot of insights into the startup culture. The other thing is, TIE does a lot of success stories and failure stories as well. where you actually can attend these and learn from them. There's so much learning which comes from these first generations, success as well as failure.
If there are no questions, now as this event draws to a conclusion, I would like to finally invite Ms. Gaurangi Joshi to propose a vote of thanks and draw curtain on today's event.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's been my privilege to have been asked to propose a vote of thanks on this occasion. I, Gaurangi Joshi, on behalf of Department of Commerce, Savitribai Phule Pune University, the entire organizing team, and on my own behalf, extend a very hearty vote of thanks to all the speakers who spent their busiest time gracing this occasion. A big thanks to Dr. N.S. Umrani sir for your valuable wisdom and knowledge. I must mention our deep sense of appreciation to Dr. Sanjay Kaptan sir for inspiring us by your great words. I also wish to express my gratitude to Rujuta Jagtap ma'am for adorning this occasion and encouraging us. Further, we are grateful to Dr. Praful Pahar sir. Today we got the opportunity to hear your thoughts. This is surely going to encourage us in the future events. I must also express my sincere thanks to Dr. P.C. Kalkar sir for sharing your thoughts and great knowledge with us. We are all inspired by your great works. I would also like to take this opportunity to place on record a hearty thanks to Dr. Supriya Patil ma'am for the perfect support and guidance she has extended to all of us. Finally, I cannot thank everyone enough for their involvement and willingness to organize this program. Thank you.
So this concludes our program for today. Thank you all for joining and welcome to MCOM Part 1.
That we have to meet again tomorrow. Students, we are going to have a meeting tomorrow at 1:30. I have sent the link. Please join. सुनाई दे तुम पूछो सली को. Sally, was the announcement clear? Has everybody heard it?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Could you hear my announcement?
Yes, ma'am.
Sally?
Yes, ma'am.
Salil,
Yes,
if you
ma'am.
can hear me,
Yes, ma'am. Everything is perfect.
Shamla ma'am just announced something. Was it audible? Please respond. Thank you, everyone. We will end the meeting now. Thanks.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Surya.
Thank you, ma'am.
Please. I think. Please, sir. Yeah, next. बंद करें. I've हे करा मीटिंग. मैम चहा सांगा ना प्लीज.
I have to rush for another meeting. मी काम करतो मला प्लेसमेंट